tonight again. Good night to worship the Lord. Good night to praise His holy name. I trust you had a good week. It looks like it's going to rain a little bit outside, but you know what? It might rain outside. I want it to rain on the inside. In here tonight, and just bless and minister to our lives spiritually as we have this service tonight. We're going to open up in prayer, go to the Lord, and ask God to have His way during the service, also to touch in the needs. Let's remember our lost loved ones, that they'll be saved before it's everlasting too late. Also, let's keep our children in prayer. God will bless our children, our teachers, our staff, our schools. I know they're out for the summer, but let's just ask God to continue to bless them and touch them. Also, let's remember our country. The Lord will bless and minister in North Carolina, and God will bless and minister in the needs in the homes and the lives. Also, let's remember Sister Brenda. Lord, to keep strengthening her, blessing her, and also Miss Mary. Lord will bless her. Let's also keep Tony Gregory in prayer. Lord, to strengthen him, give him encouragement as he had the amputations here a few weeks ago. Let's keep him in prayer. Also, let's keep Don Whitley in prayer. He'll be strengthened and be blessed. Also, let's keep our neighbor Dominique in prayer, him and his wife. God will just minister in their lives. And his nephew that was visiting, let's keep him in prayer, Lord, to just touch and minister in that need. And just all over the church, we have needs, situations. Let's continue to keep Brother Tim in prayer. Lord, to keep strengthening him, help him to have a speedy recovery. Just bless him beyond comparison. Just minister and move across the lives of our people. Keep Marcia's family in prayer. Lord, strengthen them and help them and bless them with their new house transition and everything. So let's ask God to touch that. Also, let's remember those that hadn't been here at church for a while. That's still at home and viewing and watching. Let's keep them in prayer. And they're still a part of us. We're praying this coronavirus away so that everybody can get back to somewhat normalcy. But we need to pray for all the ones that still at home watching and viewing and listening and staying tuned in with us, but just not here physically with us when we're having church. But God's blessing and God's ministry, we support them and just want to be a ministry and a blessing to them in a mighty way. Also, let's keep Sheila's special request in prayer. The Lord to touch, minister in that need and that situation. I'm sure many of you at home or wherever you're at listening and watching, you have special requests that God knows all about. He knows before you even ask. He knows what that need is, and we'll just pray and ask God to touch in those needs that normally we symbolize with uplifted hand, but you at home, you know what your need is and situation. We'll just pray God will have His way tonight and touch in a mighty way. If you will, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, just stop what you're doing for just a few moments and help me pray and ask God to have His way. Heavenly Father, we truly come before your throne tonight, loving you and praising you. We thank you for each and every one, Lord, around, Lord, associated with our church. Lord, we thank you for the ones watching, the ones viewing, the ones listening, Lord, to our broadcast. Lord, we just thank you for your love and your mercy and your kindness. We thank you for everything that you've done. You've reached down time and time again, reached down and blessed. Lord, today's no different. Today is your day. Lord, every day is your day. Lord, we just ask you to move in a mighty way. Touch during the service tonight, God. Touch every life. Lord, let your Holy Ghost power and anointing and conviction go forth and minister in the lives and the hearts. Lord, reach down and touch all our needs, Lord. You see every need that everyone has, Lord. And usually we symbolize the uplifted hand, but God, you see the need. You know what the need is before we even ask. God, I ask you to move in a mighty way, touching those needs, touching those lives. Lord, move those mountains, Lord, that need to be moved. Touch in a mighty way. Lord, we can't do it all, but God, when you get through and when you work through everything, Lord, everything's going to be a lot better. Lord, we thank you for that. Lord, we ask you to reach down and touch our lost loved ones that they'll be saved before it's everlasting too late. Also our children, God, bless them and touch them, minister their needs. Also touch Tegan's dad, Troy. Continue to bless him and minister in his need, his family. Lord, touch him in a mighty way. Have a speedy recovery. Continue to touch Brother Tim. Lord, give him a speedy recovery. Minister in his need. Lord, touch our neighbor, Lord, reach down and touch Dominique, Lord, and his wife. Reach down and bless them and touch them in a mighty way. Touch their nephew, Lord, who came to visit. God, I ask you to move and minister in their lives, minister in their homes. Touch all the ones that are still at home watching and viewing, Lord, and haven't come back physically yet. Lord, we support them, God. I ask you to bless them and touch them. Help them to continue to stay in tune and trust you, Lord, because we believe you're going to take care of this coronavirus. You're going to keep your hand upon us and take away this virus, Lord, and help everything to be all right. Lord, I ask you to touch our country, our government. Lord, reach down and touch this virus. Lord, help it to go away. Lord, touch all our people. Lord, reach down and touch and minister. Touch Miss Brenda, touch Miss Mary. Reach down and touch in their life. Touch Don Whitley tonight. Reach down and bless him, Lord, right where he's at. Touch Tony Gregory, Lord. Reach down and bless him, Lord. Give him speedy recovery from his amputation. God, I ask you to touch Marcia and her family, Lord. Reach down and touch them in their in their house transition. Lord, reach down and bless them. Bless their home. Lord, touch each and every one that's associated with our church, around our church. Lord, touch Sheila's special request you know all about. Lord, just reach down and touch in a mighty way. Reach down and bless. Let your will be done. Let your hand move upon this. Lord, reach down. You heard Sheila and my prayers, Lord, and all the church's prayers. Lord, I ask you to reach down and touch that need. And Lord, just let your will be done. Let your light shine, Lord. Let your power prevail and move and minister in every life, every heart, and every home that we be your people. We love you tonight, God. I ask you to do a mighty work. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Don't forget about our announcements. Don't forget God is good. This coming Sunday will be the last Sunday for just morning worship at 11. The first Sunday in July we'll start back Sunday school. So this coming Sunday is the 28th. So this is our last Sunday, unless something drastic changes, that we'll have just morning worship. We'll start back July the 5th with Sunday school at 10 and morning worship at 11. So be much in prayer about that. Don't forget about that. Sunday school and morning worship on July the 5th. So this coming Sunday, as I said, worship service at 11 o'clock. Also remember, Jesus is coming soon. Ready or not, he's coming for a church, coming for people. Also, we have Bible school coming up the last week of July. So this Sunday, this coming Sunday, June 28th, after church for about 30 to 45 minutes roughly, we'll have a quick meeting with our Vacation Bible School people and set things up and get things prepared for our Bible school. It'll be different than we've had in the past. So things will be different because of the social distancing and everything we've got to take into account for. But we'll be getting some plans out and be announcing those things. So this coming Sunday after church, we'll have just a small meeting to discuss that and what we're going to do and move forward from there. So don't forget about that. Be praying this week about our Bible school, about what we need to do and everything. And so we're just going to trust God that He'll help us and we'll be able to do what we need to do for our kids for their Bible school time and give them an opportunity. So just look forward to that. Even though things won't be the same as far as like other Bible schools we've had and exactly the same way and same activities, same things that we've been doing. Even though, you still want to do something for the children, they've spent past couple of months they was out of school, wasn't around their friends or teachers, and so I just don't feel like we need to take away everything from them, their Bible school and everything. So we need to at least meet with them and have a lesson and different things. So anyway, we'll talk more about that Sunday. So please be in prayer about our meeting and about our Bible school, that we'll do what needs to be done in a safe manner, that we can encourage and we can be a blessing to our kids and they can enjoy Bible school as well. So thank you for that. Tonight we are going to be out of Joshua chapter 7. Joshua chapter 7, familiar passage, familiar story. But this is a valuable lesson that we can learn and we can understand and take something from tonight across this land, across everyone that listens, everyone that hears, everyone that tunes in throughout tonight, tomorrow, the next days. This is something we can take with us and understand that things must be different if we want to succeed in life, if we want to succeed and be what God would have us to be. Joshua chapter 7, beginning verse 1. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed land. For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel. And Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Bethel, on the east side of Bethel, and spake unto them, saying, Go up and view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai. They returned to Joshua and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai, and make not all the people to labor thither, for they are but a few. So there went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai smote them, about 36 men, for they chased them from before the gate even unto Shebarim, and smote them in the going down. Wherefore the hearts of the people melted, and became as water. And Joshua rent his clothes and fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of the Lord until the eventide, he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads. Joshua said, Alas, O Lord God, wherefore hast thou at all brought this people over Jordan to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us? Would to God rock we had been content, and dwelt on the other side Jordan. O Lord, what shall I say when Israel turned their backs before their enemies? Verses 20 and 21. And Achan answered Joshua and said, Indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils of a goodly Babylonian strong, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wage of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them, and took them, and behold, they were hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. I want to mention to you tonight a message simply, unable to win. Unable to win. Heavenly Father, I come before you tonight, loving you and praising you. Ask you, Lord, to bless you one more time, God. Pour out of heaven upon your people. Lord, let this go forth. Lord, your word is sharper than any two-edged sword. It cuts going and it cuts coming. Lord, I ask you to bless in a mighty way. Reach down and use this for the good of your kingdom. Use this to get our attention, God. Move in a mighty way. Have us to be what you'd have us to be. We love you and we praise you. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen. Unable to win. As we look at this and we understand Joshua, he had a relationship with God, and he had a relationship that God and him could spend time together. And they would talk and they would confer one with another. And Joshua was on the right track for God. That's how God blessed him and blessed him at Jericho, blessed him in the town of Jericho. And Jericho was demolished. Jericho was defeated. Jericho was destroyed. It was basically a wasteland. And God had a plan. God had a plan for Joshua to go and march around the city. We remember the story, and he told them on the last time, we need all the people to play the instruments and shout loud, and we're going to go into the city of Jericho, and the walls fell down flat. We remember that scripture. We remember that story, and as we look at this and we understand, as God had a plan, he had a schedule that needed to be obtained, needed to be gone by. Joshua knew this schedule. Joshua knew what to do, and as they went, and as they was excited, and they was wonderful, and just enjoying what God was doing for them, we see that Joshua had told the people, all the stuff, leave it there. All the things that they have, leave it there. The silver and the gold and the vessels were brought back, or was supposed to be brought back to the Lord, but everything else, you need to leave it alone, leave it there. We don't need that. We're not going to get any spoil. We're going to defeat the land, but we're not going to take anything from there. And so they was excited. And as you know the story, as they marched around the walls of Jericho, hallelujah, the walls fell, and they went in and they began to do what needed to be done. That God had made a plan, that God had gave a decision and gave an opportunity for them to be victorious and to be winners and champions. And so they went in and they took over the land, and so everything was going good. But you see, there was one problem. There was one situation that was going to come to light. And so after they defeat Jericho and they win this, Joshua, he sends his men to check out Ai, and check and see, hey, can we defeat them too? Can we defeat the Amorites? Can we defeat them? Can we defeat Ai and do what we need to do and do good? And they come back and they say, hey, everything's going to be good. There's not too many of them. Just send about 2,000 or 3,000 of us. Don't send every man. Don't send every person. Just send about 2,000 or 3,000, and we're going to go over there and we're going to wipe them out, and we're going to come back victorious, and we're going to come back excited, and we're going to come back, everything's going to be all right. And so we look at this story that we read tonight, and we understand that they went, and they had their minds set on the battle. They had their minds set on defeating Ai. Their minds set on being champions again. God had already blessed them. God had already ministered in their life. God had already came down and showed up, hallelujah, just for them. Hallelujah, God had made a way and gave them a way. Hallelujah. And as they went to Ai, things didn't turn out the way that they wanted, the way that they thought they should, the way that Joshua had it entailed or envisioned in his head and envisioned in his mind. They went to this battle ready to win, but they got sent away. They got run away. They ran. They fled. There was 36 men of Joshua that were killed, and the rest of them, they ran for their lives. They were ran like scalded dogs, if you will. They ran to get away because they found out that even though Ai had lower number or smaller number, they couldn't defeat them at that time and in that place. And so they ran. They ran away from the people. And as we look at this and we understand, they turned their backs, and it says the hearts of the people melted and became as water. Their hearts, their joy, their victory began to melt as water began to run from them, because now they was not on the winning side, they was on the losing side. They was running scared. to talk to God. He said, you know, God, I wish you would allow us to stay content on the other side of Jordan, but then realize and understand that something has taken place, something has happened that has allowed God to, or caused God to be angry and upset because something had taken place, something had happened that caused God to be upset. And I tender to you today, that's why many people in the church world are not getting their victories like they wanted or like they want or think they should have. Many people are not getting their victories in this land, in this church world of America, the church world of the world, the church world as a whole, even in our local churches, in our state churches, in different places. Many people are not having the victories that they desire because there's something missing. There's something wrong. And until they change what's missing, until they change what's wrong, they'll be unable to win the victory, unable to win what they're needing. There's many people that's been praying and praying and praying. I have people pretty much every week that say, hey, preacher, or even people that don't go to churches, they'll say, hey, would you pray for me when you pray, or things like that. Many people are wanting prayer and wanting things to come out in their life and wanting victory, but they're not wanting to do what it takes to have the victory, not wanting to do what it requires and what's called for to have a victory in this life and in this land. Hallelujah. Let me tell you tonight, if you're fighting a sickness or a battle, hallelujah, you know, it might not be all the devil's fault. It might not be all someone else's fault. It just might be the individual's fault. Maybe you're battling something, maybe an emotional problem, maybe a financial problem, maybe a sin problem, and you're wanting victory over that. You've had people pray for you and pray for you. You've tried to pray for yourself. You've tried to pray about it, but you know what? You haven't seen victory yet. You haven't accomplished anything yet like you wanted, like you feel like God had promised you. Maybe it's because we haven't done what needs to be done to gain victory. Maybe it's because we haven't been who God has called us to be, to have that victory, to have that, to have what He's called us to have. You see, and to look at this. First of all, I want you to see, I've got 3 points tonight. First of all, I want you to understand there was disobedience. You see, they were told, don't you get anything. Don't you take anything. When we go into Jericho, don't you take anything for yourselves. Only the silver and gold and the vessels are going to be for God, going to be for the Lord. They were to go, they were to stick to the plan. There was a plan, and they were to stick to it. They were to do what God wanted them to do. They were to believe in themselves, believe in God, trust Joshua as a leader, and go into that land and take over and be in charge. Hallelujah. And not to take the accursed thing and not to do this. Hallelujah. But you see, the cursed thing happened. As they went in there, there was someone that said, you know what? I see all this good spoil. I see all these good things. And so I just don't believe Joshua knows what he's talking about. Don't believe Joshua really heard from God. I believe this one thought, you know, God sent us in here and we got all these blessings in here. We might as well take all this right here. Well, let me tell you, sometimes there might seem like a blessing out there, but if God says no, God says no. Well, we got to be obedient. Disobedience came, and so sin was in the camp. His name was Achan. Sin was in the camp because he took the accursed thing, because he took the things that he shouldn't have, because he took things that Joshua specifically said don't take, and he took things that God did not want them taken because, you see, they weren't supposed to take all the evil stuff. They were supposed to go in and be victorious and start over in that land with what God blessed them with, because, you see, if they was to take over the evil stuff, they wouldn't be dependent on God. You see, that's what's happened in the world today. Many people are taking the evil stuff and they're not dependent on God. They're not dependent on Him to supply, not dependent on Him to give. Hallelujah. It's the same thing in this culture that we live in. Hallelujah. You see, church people might receive blessing after blessing, miracle after miracle. Hallelujah. But they can't walk in victory because they look at the world and they like it so much that they attach or they grab the accursed thing. You see, that's what's wrong in churches across America, across North Carolina, across this country. Hallelujah. It's because people in the churches have begun to look out into the world and have begun to take of the accursed thing that God says stay away from. God says don't go near. God says stay away. Keep your hands and your feet to yourself and go away. You know, just like we learn in elementary school and even in daycares. Son or daughter, keep your hands and feet to yourself. Don't we learn that? Yes, we do. instructs people that call themselves Christians. And God desires people of the church to be, they're supposed to keep their hands and feet to themselves and not go after the accursed things, the things in the world. And see, when we go after those things that's in the world, that is sin. That's disobedient. The sin out here in the world, the sin, the things that people dilly-dally in and people get involved in, that will keep the blessing from remaining. That will keep the blessings out. You see, if we want a miracle from God, we've got to be obedient to God. You're not going to get anything by being disobedient. How many times have you gave your child a toy or something they wanted when they was disobedient and didn't respect you and do what you wanted to? Never. You never did. So why would we think, or how would we think, as being adults and being young people, how would we think that God's going to bless us if we do what He's told us not to do? How do we think He's going to reach down and He's going to work a work out in our life and we don't do what He says do? And I know you're thinking yourself, we look out here and we see people getting money hand over fist. We see people getting all these material things. But let me tell you, they can have all the material things they want. These material things will fade away. If they don't have God, they're lost and undone, and they're in for a losing battle. They're not going to be victorious. I'd rather have my health any day than all the money in the world. I'd rather have, hallelujah, what God blesses me with than all that the world has to offer. Hallelujah, because you see, every day when I wake up, I have an opportunity. I can say, you know what? I want the world. But you know what? I choose God. I'm not bragging on myself, but I'm telling you, we can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Hallelujah. We can choose God every day and not choose the world. You see, the drunkard wants to keep drinking. The drug addict wants to keep using drugs. The liar wants to keep lying. Hallelujah. The ones committing adultery wants to keep committing adultery. The ones shacking up want to keep shacking up. The ones that want to keep fornicating want to keep fornicating. The gamblers want to keep gambling. All these people want to do these things that the world has to offer, and they still want God to bless them. Now, I'm just an old country boy, but I just for lack of a better term, I think that's crazy. To think that we can get a blessing from God and we're going to live for the devil. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. I'm going to get excited tonight. That's all right. You can bear with me or you can turn me off, whichever you choose. Hallelujah. You see, we expect a blessing from God, but we want to keep sin in our life. We want a blessing. We want God to reach down and save our friends and our loved ones and our family. We want God to send us some money, by the way, because we need a blessing. Or we want God to heal us because we've got a sickness going on. Or we want God to heal our friend or our family member because there's a sickness going on. But yet we want to do what the world does. We want to speak what the world speaks. We want to live like the world lives and expect God to bless us and bless us and bless us. That's kind of crazy. That's really off the wall. So I came tonight to tell you that disobedience will cause us to be unable to win every single time. Ephesians 1:4. According as He hath chosen us in Him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before Him in love. A holy living is what it takes to get God's blessings. Now I know the rain falls on the just and the unjust. I know those that are unjust, it seems like they're getting blessings. I understand that. But hallelujah, if you really want the blessings to flow, hallelujah, let the blessings from heaven flow on me, hallelujah. If you want the blessings to flow, then you'll decide that you want to have a holy life, a holy living, hallelujah. It's not hard to live holy. As I said Sunday, and I'm going to say it again, holiness is still God's standard of living. Holiness is still God's standard of living. Hallelujah. We don't hear that preached much anymore across the world. We don't see people thinking that that's a real good thing to do. But let me tell you, holiness is the only way to see God. The holiness is the only way to be what God would have us be. I'm not talking about denomination. I'm talking about lifestyle. I'm talking about being ready for the Lord. I'm talking about being what God would have us to be, living a life pleasing to Him. Achan, he was disobedient. He could have had it all. He could have been blessed by God. God would have given him more than he received from that place. But Achan was going to get death because God was angry at his disobedience. It's not 10 or 2 tonight. The wages of sin is death. It doesn't stop stop there. But the gift of God is eternal life. You see, the wages of sin is death. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. But you see, the old man died. Sin died in my life. Hallelujah. And the gift of God is eternal. I've got eternal life with God as long as I live right and live holy. Hallelujah. But you see, if we have those sin in our life and we don't have a holy life, we don't live for the Lord, and we're disobedient to God, then we're going to pay for that sin one way or another. It's up to you and it's up to I when we do that and how that's going to take place. You see, Achan was disobedient, and him and his family was harmed and was destroyed because of his actions. You see, a lot of people don't think about this, but sometimes our families, people we love, are punished because of something we did. We don't usually think about those things. We don't usually have it in our mind. But sometimes, because of our actions, people lose. You say, preacher, what are you talking about? Well, if I don't live a holy life in front of my family, and I lead them the wrong path, and they leave this world lost and undone, then destruction has come to them because I've led them down the wrong path. Because I've led them wrong, been disobedient to God and led them wrong. So destruction came to them. And even sometimes in just regular, everyday living, if we're not careful, some people will suffer because of our doings. You know, just like, you know, the drunkard. If the drunkard gets drunk, gets behind the wheel of a car, and goes out here and wrecks and kills someone, somebody else suffers because of that worldliness. The drug addict gets strung out on drugs, doesn't have money to buy drugs. They go break in houses or rob people to get money to go buy drugs. People suffer because of their sin. Families suffer because of adultery, because of shacking up, because of fornication. Families suffer because of people gambling. They take their monies and the things that could be used for houses or cars or food or clothes or whatever, and they use it for their gambling addictions. You see, all sin does is takes us farther than we want to go and keeps us longer than we want to stay. That's all sin does. Sin is not, and that's what disobedience, that's what sin did for Achan. It took him farther than he wanted to go because he didn't want him and his family killed. He wanted to live and he wanted to have extra. And it kept him longer than he wanted to stay, but it kept him forever. Took him, grabbed hold of him, destroyed him. Secondly, there was a loss of vision. You see, the Bible tells us, without a vision, the people perish. The people wanted to overcome Jericho. The people wanted to be known as victorious. They wanted to do the right thing. They had a vision from God. They had a vision to go in, win, be victorious, do God's work, go to the next battle, win, be God's chosen people, do God. They had a vision. Joshua had a vision that, hey, we're going to serve God, and we're going to obey God, and we're going to do what he wants us to do. As for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. We're going to keep doing what God wants us to do. We've got a vision. And we're going to move forward. You know, just like we're doing in church, we've got a vision to move forward in faith, trusting in God, hallelujah, and reaching the lost at any cost and sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ with other people. A vision. But Achan's vision was lost. He lost his vision. He lost his way. He lost his other. He had the vision to start with as he started going in. But as he looked around and as he saw all those nice things and all those things that glittered, did you know, like the old saying, everything that glitters is not gold? They went in and he had the vision to go and be victorious. Had the vision to go in and do what was right, but through going in and seeing great things that nobody else was going to use because they were destroyed. People were destroyed in Jericho. So nobody was going to use them. What's it going to harm for me to get these things and take back to my tent and put them under the tent and hide them and bury them? Who's it going to harm if I get those things? His vision was clouded. His vision was taken over by self-righteousness, by himself. You see, hallelujah. As we understand through reading Scripture, when Jesus returns, his reward is with him. His reward is with him. A lot of people think that just because they say they're going to go to heaven, they're going to go. A lot of people think that just because their name's on a roll at some church, they're going to go to heaven. A lot of people think just because they sung a song at church or they went to the altar one time and they just got saved and satisfied that everything's going to be all right and they're going to go to but many people that say they're going to find out when he comes back with his reward that they're going to be left behind. We need to look at this and we need to understand, you know why? People are going to be left behind because their vision gets snuffed out. Their vision gets taken away from them. You know, many people start out with good intentions. Many people start out with the vision of God. Many people start out doing what God would have us to do. You see, he gives us a vision, first of all, to follow him. He gives us a vision to follow after righteousness and holiness. And what he tells us, that's why we study the Word of God. That's why we read the Bible. That's why we go to church. That's why we listen to the crazy preacher. That's why we listen to the teachers when they teach Sunday school. That's why we hear the gospel singing when we hear the gospel singing, because he gives us a vision to follow after him. And as we combine all these things, it gives us the vision, gives us the avenue and the way to follow after him. You see, it also tells us how to live for him. He gives us that vision of how to follow him, how to live for him, and how to work for him, how to live righteous and holy. We understand that vision to follow him, to live right, hallelujah, and to get to work and to do what God would want us to do. But you see, many people, they have lost that vision. That's why there's so many people in the churches across America sitting down on God right now and have wrinkles on their garment because they sit down and say, well, somebody else will do that. Somebody else will help out there. Somebody else will do that. Well, God's instructed them to do what they're supposed to be doing for the glory of God. I'm talking about a vision that's been given, and the vision has been snuffed out. Many preachers have been given a vision, but through time, for desire of, whether it be for money or whether it be for fame and fortune, they've lost the vision of God and they started preaching for their own selves, doing their own thing, living their own way, preaching those tickling ears messages saying, oh, you'll be okay, everything's all right, God understands. Well, you know what? Those preachers and those ministers that do that and lead people down the wrong path, they're going to be held accountable. I'm going to be held accountable for every word that I say, every word that I preach, hallelujah, to the church and to people that I preach to and teach to and tell about the love of Jesus Christ. I'm held accountable. And let me tell you, I'm not going to lose out. I'm not going to a devil's hell for nobody or nothing. Hallelujah. I've got to keep the vision that God's entrusted within my life. And so every Christian has to do that. Every Christian is given a vision of what they're supposed to do, a vision in their life. Not a vision of people perish. You see, the church as a whole has a vision. The pastor has a vision. And the congregant has a vision. And they all line up together. They don't have to be the exact same vision. But they've got to line up to work together to be a whole vision that God has created, that God wants to work. You see, because if there's three different visions that are totally opposite, that's not a vision from God. It's got to be a vision that God entails and puts together and brings like a triangle together and brings, and everyone is able to have it. You see, we've got to understand. We've got to keep that vision. We can't let it dissolve. We can't let it get away from us. Just because we see something pretty over there, just because we think the grass is greener over there, we can't let the vision that God has entrusted with us dissolve and go away. Hallelujah. We can't let the vision dissolve. You know, many people, they give up on their vision for God. They give up on their vision. God's instructed them. And they give up on the way because trials come, tribulations come, situations, circumstances, sicknesses, different things, friends come by, different things. You know, sometimes the enemy throws in those traps, whether it be things, places, or people, that tries to get our vision off God, our vision off what the vision is, our main goal, our main source of what the vision is. And God is looking for some people that will keep the vision the whole time and not let anything distract or take us from it. Too many people are letting things get in the way of their walk. Too many people are letting things get in the way. I'm not talking about just sin in itself, but I'm talking about things getting in people's way to keep them from the vision of God. God has given us a desire. He's given each and every one a way to walk and a way to serve Him and to be what He had to be. He gave Achan that vision. God gave the vision to Joshua, and Joshua gave it to the people, and the people heard it and understood. You see, Ai never would have wanted to be destroyed, never would have wanted to cause his people to be destroyed. Ai wanted to be right there with that vision. They had a vision of being champions, being victorious, winning the battle. Hallelujah. They had a vision and they was going forward. But along the line, his vision left him and he saw for himself. He saw things that self him. That's why we have to deny ourselves. We've got to take up our cross daily and follow after him, because self has to be put down to the side. Self has to be told no. But we've gotten to a place to where we pamper self. Amen? We pamper self. We'll say, oh, it'll be okay. We're not in the pampering business. We're in the serving God business and having the vision that God has instructed us to have to go forward. And thirdly, he had a loss of faith. The garment and silver gold. Listen, when I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment and 200 shekels of silver and a wage of gold of 50 shekels weight, I coveted them, I wanted them, and took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. You see, he lost his faith. This was a lot of value. This silver and this gold and this garment, it was a lot of value. And he coveted it. He wanted it. It was somebody else's. It was supposed to be left there because God had instructed. But he coveted it. You know, like some people covet other people's property. You know, so that's why adultery takes place. People covet other people's wives or husbands. Amen. Hallelujah. As we look at this, there was a loss of faith. You see, Achan took this. And if it would have been okay, if he wouldn't have known that it was wrong, that would have been one thing, but he knew it was wrong. Preacher, how do you know he knew it was wrong? He went and he hid it in the ground. He dug a hole in his tent and buried the stuff under his tent. If it was so good and he could have it, why bury it? Why put it somewhere and hide it? You see, something that's good or something we want people to know we have, we don't hide it, do we? He hid it. He hid it from the people, but he couldn't hide it from God. He hid it from the people and from Joshua, but he couldn't hide it from God. And so he got this worldly glimpse. He said, you know what? I can put my trust in myself. And I can get this, and I can have this for a rainy day. I can have this for a better time. I can have this for down the road. I can have this for when I might need this, because I might have to be able to use this to buy or whatever. And so he got his own idea. He said, you know what, I'm going to take this, I'm going to bury it, I'm going to save it up. And I'm going to have it for a later date. I'm going to have it. You see, so many times, that's exactly the way we get. We begin to trust in ourselves. We think, well, it was me and my education that got me this job. We think so many times it was me and my hard work that got all this money in the bank and all this retirement that's going on. But in reality, it wasn't you, it wasn't me, it was God the whole time. But sometimes we begin to get so much. And that's why sometimes it's harder for rich people to serve God like they need to, because they begin to trust in themselves. And that's why the Word of God says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to glory. Because people begin to trust in themselves when they have everything going. When you have your health and you have all the money you need, you have the nice car that you want, you have the nice house, you have the nice clothes on your back, you have the nice shoes on your feet. You begin to trust in self and what self can do instead of trusting in God. And so that takes away the faith. And you know, it's happened in the church world. You know, many times, you know, and being a pastor, I can say this, many times pastors and preachers, they have started trusting in themselves and quit getting their message from God, allow God to bless their life, and allow God to anoint the message and to anoint them. And so many people are trying to preach and teach and sing and do things out of God's anointing, and it's not going to get anywhere because they've lost the faith. But when we have the faith and we trust God, hey, I can't do it on my own. I can't do it by myself. When we trust God and we believe God, hallelujah, we keep the faith and we walk in the faith, things is going to work out the way we need it to. Everything's going to be all right, but we got to keep that faith. We can't trust in ourselves. You see, God gives us the anointing, gives us the ability, but we don't do it in ourselves. So it's time we quit saying, well, I did this or I did that. No, God allowed us to do these things. Hallelujah. I thank God that He allows me to pastor and allows me to preach. But see, I can't do it on my own. when He called me to preach, I couldn't do it on my own. I still can't do it on my own. Hallelujah. I have to have it from Him. Hallelujah. I have to have it from God. You know, I've heard people talk about their message, getting their messages before it through my Christian walk. I've heard people talk about getting messages online and getting messages from this and from that. But you know what? Hallelujah. What we need to get back to is getting our message straight from God, straight from the throne of grace. Hallelujah. That's the message that the people need to hear. And that's what I like to do. And that's what I do. I get the message from God. Sometimes God brings me back to messages I preached before throughout my ministry. And He brings me back. And I find my old scripture outline, hallelujah, that He gave me at that time. And I begin to pray and seek God. And God begins to pour it back on me, hallelujah, of what He had told me then and a new way that He told me now. Hallelujah. We've got to get it from God. We can't get it from man, and we can't get it from a book, and we can't get it from the YouTube, and we can't get it from online. Hallelujah. We've got to get our message from God. You know what that is? That's faith. Believing God's going to help us. There's been times, hallelujah, when it's been Saturday night. Sometimes it's been Sunday morning before God gave me the message that I needed for that day. Pray and pray. It's all God. I read the Bible all week. But just wasn't comfortable with anything. Any message that I had wrote down, any message that He had given me, I wasn't comfortable. But then, hallelujah, by the power of the Holy Ghost and the grace of God, last minute, He would give me a message. And it would be for the church for that day. I thank God for that. It's called faith. I believe in God. Hallelujah. I'm not bragging. I'm simply just telling you about God. I've been to church before, had a message to preach, one of those fireball messages. And during Sunday school, God gave me another message. I write down a few words, but I don't have an outline. Get up behind the pulpit and preach what God puts in here. And I'm talking about having faith. I'm talking about trusting God. Hallelujah. When's the last time we trusted God? Hallelujah, to put food on our table. When's the last time we trusted God to put money in our bank account? When's the last time we trusted God to just help us pick out the right vehicle when we go vehicle shopping? When's the last time we trusted God with everything and with all things? You know, every message that goes out, it has to hit me first. Many times I prayed about things. I want things to go a certain way, certain areas. So I have faith that God will do it. And if things don't go exactly like I wanted, but God blessed, I begin to say, why didn't you do it, God? Or what happened, God? Things like that. And so I have to say, oh, Lord, I'm sorry. Help my faith to build back up, to just trust you. It's not in what I can do. It's not in how things can work out the way I want to, but what God's plan is. That's what we're looking at, the whole story of Achan. It was God's plan for Joshua and the children of Israel to go into Jericho and defeat the land. And to go to Ai to defeat. It was God's will. But because of Ai's sin, God's will couldn't be done at that time so they had to run, basically with the tails between their legs, because they run away because they were being defeated because of sin in the camp. And so I'm talking about loss of faith. You know, we've got to keep going. You know, I know when sickness hits and when problems hit, it's hard to say just hold the faith, but we got to do that because we can't trust in ourselves. We can't trust in what we can do. We got to trust in God. We got to believe. You see, there's an old saying that says, if you don't believe, you cannot receive. To receive, you got to believe. To receive from God, you've got to believe that it's on the way. You got to walk in faith. Believe in faith. Matthew 7:7. Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. God will give us what we need if we just ask. And many times God gives us more than we need. Hallelujah. Every one of us have more than we need. More than we need. I've got more than I need. Every one of us have more than we need. Preacher, how do you know everyone's got more than they need? I would about dare say everybody that's watching, viewing, or hearing under the sound of my voice, I dare say that almost 99% of everybody has a building with stuff in it. A building with stuff in it. I'm not talking about like has you a generator and you know that you need for when the power goes out and like your lawnmower and your oil used for hunting. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about stuff in boxes that you stack up to save for whatever time. That's what I'm talking about. I know we've got a building in our house with stuff that we've had for different amounts of time that are stacked up, and we don't even go out there and look at it or anything, just stacked up. More than we need. We don't need that, but we have it, so we keep it. And so what I'm saying with that is, God always gives us more than we need. God always gives us more than we could ever ask for. So why are we not victorious? Because we've got disobedience in the camp, because we've had a loss of vision, because we've had a loss of faith in the camp. But you know what? It's time for change. I heard a wise pastor say one time, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always be who you've always been. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always be who you've always been. And you know what? That's so true. If we don't have change in our life, you see, God is God and He changes not. God does not change, but people change. We need to change. We need to change our lives. It's time for change. It's time to be a winner. It's time to be a winner. Hallelujah, for the glory of God. It's time to be a winner. It's time. You know what? I can tell you right now the antidote to be a winner. Hallelujah. Obey God. Get the vision. Feel the vision. Be the vision that God's entrusted within you. And believe God. Just believe it. Hallelujah. He'll do what He said He'll do. He said He'll never leave you nor forsake you. Guess what? He won't. You might leave Him, but He won't leave you. When you take your hand out of His hand, but He's not going to leave you. Once He comes to your life, He won't leave you. But you can walk away and you can leave His hand. He won't never leave you nor forsake you. He'll be with you. He'll strengthen you. He'll bless you. He'll minister to your heart. He'll minister to your home. He'll minister to your family. He'll save to the uttermost. He wants all to be saved. And He's coming again. He's coming again. Jesus could come just any day now. There's a song. Just any day now, our Lord is coming. Pretty much all I remember, but you get the gist. You've heard that song before. Just any day now, our Lord is coming. It could be today. Could be before we wake up in the morning. Could be next week. I don't know. No man knows the day nor the hour. Son of man coming. But God knows. God knows. If you have faith in God, you'll look around and see change needs to happen in you and I. We need to have change. We need to be obedient to God. Hallelujah. Have that vision. Live that vision. Be that vision. Trust Him. Believe. So tonight, as we pray, fixing to pray in just a second. If you're listening or watching or hearing, and you're not saved, all you got to do is ask Jesus into your life. He'll forgive you, He'll save you, cleanse you, and live within you. Maybe you're watching, you've been saved forever how long? You're a Christian, you're ready to go. But somehow lately, things have happened and your faith is dwindling. You've lost the vision you once had for God. Lost the vision on the work that God had in store for you. Maybe you've been disobedient. Maybe you've distrusted and been disobedient, not listening to God. You see, God has a way to get our attention. Maybe you have never been spanked by God, but I have. I was at a church service one time. The anointing was all over me. Had an opportunity. It was prayer request time. A lady gave in a prayer request for her husband. God dealt with me during that whole time while she was speaking. He said, you need to go up there and anoint her. Pray for her husband that he would get right. Everything would be good in his life. And there was a lot of people at the church service. I sat there and sat there and sat there. Long story short, I failed to get up and go anoint her and pray with her. And that night, I had an awful spanking by God. I had to ask for forgiveness, apologize for not doing what He told me to do. And I told Him right then, whatever He asked me to do, I'd do it to the very best of my ability. I would try my best to listen and be obedient every time He calls. So I know about disobedience. If you stay in disobedience, you'll never be what God's called you and instructed and desired you to be. But if you'll be obedient to God, He'll use you, He'll mold you. So we pray this final prayer tonight. Maybe you've been disobedient. Ask God to forgive you. Tell Him you're sorry. Repent of your ways and say, God, I'm sorry. I truly want to do the very best I can. And He'll change your life right now. And He'll make it for the better. And you'll be able to go forth and do His will. And be victorious. And be a winner, winner, winner. Heavenly Father, come before you tonight, loving you and praising you. I thank you for this message. Lord, it's encouraged me. Lord, it's instilled in me. Lord, it's in my heart. Lord, I know this is the right message for tonight, God. You brought me tonight, Lord, to reach out to people. Lord, it's not about me, but it's about you. It's about what you can do. I know that you never allow a message or your word to go out null and void. God, I know that you're reaching down. I know you're touching. I know you're pricking hearts. You're in this message. I know you were touching lives, touching somebody. Lord, I know there's people out there watching, listening, hearing, and during the rest of the week there'll be people hearing. Lord, if there's anybody that hears this that's not saved to the uttermost, please help them to be pricked in their heart, convicted of their sins, and Lord, help them to just repent and turn from their wicked ways. Ask you to come in their life and cleanse their soul, forgive them their sins, change their way, and be what they need to be. Be that saint, be that Christian that you called them to be. Lord, just reach down and bless in their life. Touch them in a mighty way. Reach down and minister in their heart, and in their soul, and in their life. Do the work, God. I believe you, and I trust you, and I thank you for this. Lord, I ask you to do that. Lord, everybody else that's listening, Lord, that's been saved for a while, or maybe for a day, whatever the case, Lord, they've been saved, and they've been serving you, but Lord, through life, or through something going on, Lord, they've lost their vision, or they've lost the faith, or Lord, maybe they've even been disobedient to you. God, I ask you to prick their heart right now, convict them, help them to know that they're wrong, and they need to repent and change from that, and just be obedient and live in your vision, be in your vision, do your vision, live their life with your vision in mind, and God, be what you'd have them to be, and Lord, help them to keep the faith, hold the faith, so they can be winners. Lord, help us all to be winners, Lord, because we know you're a soon-coming King, God, and to be a winner, we've got to be ready when you come back, so when you call us home, we'll be able to go to that place called heaven. Lord, we love you tonight. Ask you to go with each and every one. Keep them safe. Watch over them, Lord. Be in their life, touching their life. Do the work, God. We love you tonight, and we praise you. We thank you for all things. And Lord, everybody that was watching, everybody that was viewing, everybody that listens, I ask you to give them a double portion. Give them a double blessing this week. Touch them in a mighty way and minister in their lives. And Lord, please help them to like this, and Lord, to share this with other people maybe that don't go to church or don't go to this church, Lord, that people will hear this message and understand to be a winner. There's some things we've got to do. We can't live like Achan and not expect to be destroyed like Achan, because destruction is coming for those that don't know you, Lord. And Lord, help us to be ready. Help everyone to be ready and waiting, watching, and praying for your coming. We love you, we praise you, we thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Don't forget this Sunday morning, worship service, 11 o'clock. Remember, Jesus loves you. Pastor David loves you as well. God bless you. Have a good night.